They were hearing the matter concerning the air pollution here in the national capital and in the north of the country. The Supreme Court has reiterated and directed the state government of Punjab, Haryana and Rajasthan, including UP and Delhi, to ensure that crop burning or stubble burning is stopped. Local SHO has been made responsible to ensure that the orders are implemented. Under the supervision of the Chief Secretary, SHOs have been made accountable. This is a reiteration of the earlier directions of the Supreme Court of India. This is not a new order per se. Stubble burning is something which is already banned by the orders of the Supreme Court of the country. There are multiple executive orders by the various state governments that have been put in place in compliance of the orders of the Supreme Court. There are also executive orders for fining the farmers who indulge into stubble burning, but of no avail, of no relief. Keeping in mind that the farmers argue they don't have a real alternative in hand when it comes to stubble and they are forced to burn the residue. Ananya with us on the broadcast. Ananya, the reiteration of the earlier position, stop stubble burning.
Of strict action has to be taken by the Punjab government and also the neighbouring states. Now, another big direction and the most important one coming in from the Supreme Court, the Chief Secretary has been asked to convene a meeting of all the stakeholders in order to find a solution with regards to the pollution menace in the National Capital Territory of Delhi. Not only that, with regards to the non-operation of two smog towers that have been set up in central Delhi, the Supreme Court has called for the DPCC chairman to be present in the hearing on the next date. Very, very clear categorical observations of the Supreme Court, asking all the stakeholders to work together in order to solve this particular pollution menace. Also recording the statements of Senior Advocate Gopal Sankar Narayanan, who was of the view that since the Prime Minister has been calling for millets as to be a particular solution, millets should also be included in the crops that has to be suggested with regards to an alternative for the paddy which can stop stubble burning in the state. He also recorded the statement of Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, who highlighted the statement of Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal with regards to a biochemical being developed with PUSA, with regards to which can be used on the stubble in order to convert it into fertilizers. The Supreme Court has asked all the stakeholders to sit together, hold a meeting, and in fact the DPCC chairman to be present before the topmost court of the country on the next date of hearing. So what happens next is something that we'll have to wait and watch for. But definitely the attitude of the Supreme Court is very, very clear that unchoke the National Capital Territory of Delhi, stop stubble burning in the neighbouring state of Punjab, Rajasthan, etc. And very, very clearly and categorically, the people of Delhi should not suffer anymore. Anusha.
Well, aren't we suffering, Ananya? Despite the orders from the Supreme Court, despite the orders from the National Green Tribunal, various judicial measures that have been taken, but our governments have failed us repeatedly. Political accountability is what the Supreme Court is asking for and should be the norm. We should also ask questions from our respective elected governments as to what they have done to take care of this toxic haze that continues to engulf life, especially here in Delhi. The pollution levels are unprecedented, and this is right before Diwali. Each year for the last few years, we witness these unprecedented levels of pollution, but usually the pattern is that this is right after the festivities, Diwali festivities. Crackers contributed to some degree of pollution despite the ban from the Supreme Court. But this year, this is a week before Diwali and we've been completely engulfed by this toxic haze. Ananya, what did the Delhi government have to say when Tushar Mehta pointed out that you spoke of a solution, an alternative, where the crop residue could be taken care of, which PUSA Institute had developed? Did the Delhi government really respond to that suggestion?
Well, no particular response had come in for that suggestion, but the Supreme Court has asked all of these issues to be discussed by the meeting of the cabinet secretaries in this particular regard. The chief secretaries also have to meet with regards to solving this particular position when it comes to the pollution menace in the National Capital Territory of Delhi. Punjab AG, however, being very, very fair, saying that, stubble burning is one of the major problems that the state of Punjab is facing, and endeavours are being made in order to stop all of this and to make Punjab a stubble burning free state. However, a certain help has been sought from the central government, wherein it has been very, very categorically held and observed by the Supreme Court also that the 25% cost can be borne by the Delhi government, the other 25% can be borne by the state of Punjab, and the remaining 50% with regards to suggesting of these measures can be borne, the financial aspect of his can be borne by the central government as well. So various directions, not only to the Delhi government, not only to the Punjab government, but also to the central government and the other neighbouring states by the Supreme Court. Very, very clear cut motive that, that Punjab should be stubble burning free. There should not be pollution in the National Capital Territory of Delhi, and the people of Delhi should not be made to suffer because of the inaction of the government officials. He was very, very stern when it comes to, meetings being held and committees being made that, this committee business had to stop at some point of time. And real action has to start taking other than the paperwork and the paper being used. There has to be a certain action on the ground that needs to take place, and this problem of the pollution menace has to stop in the national capital.
Well, I believe from my experience, Ananya, of covering the Supreme Court, that there are two kinds of hearings that happen at the Supreme Court when it comes to the pollution crisis. One what I call reprimand hearings, like the governments and the officers need to be called and reminded of their duty. They need to be pulled up by the court to say, look, this is your task and you must do it as soon as possible. And the second, where you have more substantial orders coming in from the court, where I remember there was a point when the crackers were banned or the entry of trucks was banned in the national capital. EPCA was set up. Those are more substantial orders coming in. Today was once again a reminder and a reprimand from the Supreme Court of India that governments must do their jobs. Stubble burning is already outlawed by various executive actions, by the orders of the Supreme Court. And this is a reminder that the Chief Secretary is responsible. SHOs will be held responsible. Any further date of hearing that has been set by the Supreme Court, Ananya?
Well, the Supreme Court was in the the way of dictating the next date of hearing, but we'll get to know it in a short while from now.
Sure.
We'll get to see that the hearing, and the Supreme Court is very, very clear that it would be holding hearings every week, and in fact, not only it will continue till the Diwali, but would also continue post Diwali, so that this pollution menace can actually be stopped in the national category, in the National Capital Territory of Delhi, and very, very clearly directions given to all neighbouring states giving in their views. Punjab accepting that, stubble burning is some problem that they need to attend to, and alternative mechanism being sought. In fact, the Supreme Court also suggesting that if at all the Prime Minister and the central government is promoting millets so much and so, this should also come in the cultivation process as well, and people should be encouraged to grow millets or other alternative crops other than paddy, which causes the problem of stubble burning in these neighbouring states, which in turn cause the pollution menace in the National Capital Territory of Delhi. But not only that, vehicular pollution too was another major reason which is causing the pollution in the National Capital Territory of Delhi. We saw stern observations coming in from Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul when it comes to the various taxis going on in the National Capital Territory of Delhi, whether registered under UP, Rajasthan, Haryana, or in fact Delhi itself. There has to be a certain stoppage, certain the mechanism has to be developed in order to regulate entry of vehicles in the National Capital Territory of Delhi, and also with regards to the buses plowing in the National Capital with half capacity running, they also contribute to the pollution levels in the national capital. And what the Supreme Court has said very, very clearly that devise some mechanism so that the vehicles on the road can actually be reduced, so that the vehicular pollution can come down in the national capital, which is also one of the major contributors. Not only this, so municipal solid waste management has also been asked to be stopped. The open burning of the MSW is something which is also contributed to the pollution in the National Capital Territory of Delhi. And the Supreme Court very, very clear that this should stop, and the Delhi government should look into this particular issue as well.
The crop cycle is something that needs to be looked into. Of course, for a developing country like India, the construction work will go on. Industrial activities cannot be stopped completely, barring a specified period of time. Ananya, why don't you tell us a bit more about the orders which are coming in? And multitasking from the court is one advantage that reporters often have to do. I also, as I read through the details coming in from the Supreme Court, there's one observation that has been made by Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, arguing that schemes like odd even to tackle air pollution are mere optics. Ananya will tell us more about it. I'll go back to him in just a bit. But the crop cycle is something that has been spoken of, that how you need to incentivize the paddy crops and give more diversification to the crop cycle in the country. So